so about 1,500, nearly 2,000 US dollars a month to have our sewage removed. Right? And that's just one cafe. Right? In the summertime, it's 12,000 US dollars a month for air conditioning. Right? These are things that people do not understand, that if you are selling $500 worth of coffee a day, you're going backwards in a great rate of knots.
Welcome to the Map It Forward Middle East podcast, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 3 of an awesome 5-part series with Kim Thompson and Matt Toogood from Raw Coffee Company. In this series, we're talking about the specialty coffee shop that started it all in the Middle East. And in this episode, we're talking about the reality of the Dubai coffee scene. So, guys, when you attach the word Dubai... Guys, when you attach the word Dubai to anything, people immediately think glitz and glamour, and they think expensive, and they think a picture of glitz and glamour in front of me. But what is the reality of the Dubai coffee scene?
Can I just give you a little bit of history? Because it's
always asking, he's going to do it anyway.
Yeah. People don't realize that when you're trading in the Middle East, we actually only have a 9-month season. Right? Because summer, 2 months, it's pretty much too hot to do anything apart from run from AC to AC. Right? And then we used to have Ramadan. Right? And it was only,
Wait, just a correction. We didn't used to have Ramadan. We still have Ramadan, but we don't have it in summer.
No, we still have Ramadan. But we used to have the situation in Ramadan where you had to apply for a permit to trade and you had to screen your business. So if you had people eating or drinking during the day, then you actually had to have that screened off. Now, that's fine. That was respect for the Muslim community here. But effectively, you had 9 months of trading a year. And still, that reality is somewhat the same now. So one of the first things I say to people when they turn up and say, I'm opening a cafe, I go, okay, let me see your 9-month budget. They go, here's my 12-month budget. I say, well, which 3 months are you going to throw away? Because, that's the very first thing. That you have to realize. Right now, this city is changing really, really fast. Now, there was something that you taught me, Lee, a number of years ago, is that there is a huge amount of information available. So any of the numbers I give you, please go onto the internet and double check them, because I've done some research lately. Currently, there is one cafe for every 5,000 people in Melbourne.
Yeah, right.
That's the data, right? Now, you know people in Melbourne. I know people in Melbourne. How's it going down there? Is it going roses? Awesome.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, based on January the 1st, 2024, so 1 year ago, on the website, which you can freely download the information for the Dubai Municipality and the Dubai Chamber of Commerce, there is, drumroll please, one cafe for every 750 people in Dubai. Right? Now, we're a little greedy. We steal quite a few of those people every day. So
you do.
That's not evenly split.
750 people, that's not including people that can't afford to pay, 25 dirhams for a cappuccino or a flat white or something on a regular basis. That's a biryani, that's a meal. They're not going to pay that.
Yeah. I calculate that we have an addressable audience of just over 500,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's so sobering when you think of the fact that there's 20,000+ venues in Dubai that actually sell coffee or in one fashion or another. Like, and we verified those numbers. Like, I took the data, I analyzed the data. Like, we know for sure this is not something that we're getting from some marketing company. The three of us know for certain that those numbers are correct because we analyzed the data. We took the raw data and checked it. And when you start to look at the reality of that, it paints a completely different scene that gives you an idea why, come about May, you walk into a cafe and it's empty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't tell you the number of cafes that I've been into since I've lived here, and I've been living here for 2 years now. I can't tell you the number of cafes that I go into and the baristas say to me, we make maybe 3 to 5 lattes a day, 3 to 5 coffees a day.
Look, here's some stuff that's not particularly great. If we analyze independent cafe customers, over the last 3 years, we've seen a decline of nearly 40% in their coffee consumption. So, there's a lot more customers, and we've got a lot more customers, but they're
working harder.
Oh, yeah. The independent, so I used to say you have to do 125 cups of coffee per day to break even. If you're doing cafe with a little bit of food, a la, not having a full kitchen, but just doing that, about 125 cups. I would say that the average cafe in Dubai is maybe doing 80 cups of coffee a day.
If they're lucky.
Based on the fact that most cafes that we're supplying that are just single operation cafes are about just over a kilo of coffee a day consumption. So, look, we have some of the most expensive cups of coffee, but that still doesn't pay the wages or the rent. So one thing that people don't know about Dubai is that there is no structured sewage system in Dubai. We run on septic tanks. So every single business, every single house, there may be an aggregation, but it's all septic tanks. And we refer to the orange trucks that drive around our city, especially at night, as honey trucks, because they're full of honey of the humankind. Now, it costs us as a business.
I'm
going to tell you, it costs us as a business 5,000 dirhams, so about 1,500, nearly $2,000 a month to have our sewage removed. All right, and that's just one cafe. Right. In the summertime, it's $12,000 a month for air conditioning. Right? These are things that people do not understand, that if you are selling $500 worth of coffee a day, you're going backwards in a great rate of knots. You may have this amazing space with this amazing chairs, but we see so many businesses that are built for magpies. And what they do is they attract magpies, and those magpies are going to move to the next thing that comes along. And it's super, super frustrating because you get people who come into the city and they go, wow, it's so wonderful that, there's so many cafes. Which one are you supporting? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to go to all of them. Oh, that's great. How are you going to judge that cafe is good or bad? I don't have to. I can just go to the next one down the street. What about, some loyalty for what they're doing? Oh, that's all right. Doesn't really matter.
Something else is, it's increasingly we're getting a lot of customers that are concept stores and, businesses that are now, as part of their customer service, they're giving coffee or matcha to their clients when they come in, when they provide their service for them. So we're getting a lot of, and offices and corporate businesses
Doctor,
that are
dentist. Yeah. You go to any professional business here and they'll have a barista.
Center.
They'll have a barista in their lobby. Now, those are not included in the cafes. The numbers we've got.
No, they add to the problem.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
The reality also is that majority of food and beverage brands, just go further than a cafe per se, the main thing that is driving that business is the 50 motorbike delivery guys that are sitting outside that business using that particular location as a delivery hub. Right? So, the brick and mortar business is actually more a delivery hub or a dark kitchen, but it's not a dark kitchen, it's a light kitchen. So, well,
that's cutting into their margin as well. They're not making any money.
That's 30%.
30% to that.
30% of that money of the bill goes to the delivery.
Well, it speaks to this success fallacy that I talk a lot about on the Global podcast, right? This idea that because there's so many cafes, because there's so many cloud kitchens, because there's so many restaurants and all of these business, it must be a profitable business, because why would so many people be going into it if it wasn't profitable? And I wonder if you guys could speak to that success fallacy.
Well, you could ask any of our kids if they're interested in taking over the business from us.
Right.
There's no way they're going to get involved in this because it's hard work. There's easier ways to make money, I think. And they've all been unpaid child labour as well, obviously. But
haven't we all?
I think maybe, yes. I think it's, there's cycles, isn't there? Cities go through cycles, and it's, I know there's third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, related to specifically our industry. But I also think there's cycles in behaviour. So we know these cycles now with the different generations coming through and the way they consume and the way they, send me. Sometimes we come in the morning and we'll say, I had the best idea at 2:00 in the morning. And he'll say, you should have called me. I was awake then as well, or something. But I think there's changes in the way the consumers are behaving now and what they expect. And the brands, they decide to, obviously in the Middle East, we've got, we talked earlier about, our belief system regarding Palestine, for example. There's a very real local movement towards supporting local businesses, which we're lucky we're in the right place and time to enjoy benefiting from that. And we really are. There's a huge shift away from the big international brands. And for us, we would like to believe that was also around quality and freshness, but I'm not sure.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So I've been here just coming up 17 years, and I've seen 5 different Dubais, distinctly different. And I was talking to a customer of ours who's been a customer of ours for 10 plus years today, and I said, how are you enjoying this version of Dubai? And he said, I'm not sure if I fit with this version. And it's literally a version control. So one of the things that you can do is that we used to be playing catch up. Now we're going to show, Dubai shows you what the world's market is going to be like, and one of the things that we are seeing is that dark kitchens are dead. People are not voting with that anymore because dark kitchens have become homogenized. It's just a brand on a box, but you've got the same chef or same kitchen with the same suppliers, because the only way that they can make money is that they buy all their protein from one place and all their vegetables from one place, and all the food tastes the same. And the new consumer, which is huge amount of Gen Z Zoomers, they don't want that. Hurrah. They don't want everything stuck in a blender and being the same. So where they're gravitating towards are brands that are unique, different, and if they were sustainable, if they were profitable, they would be incredible. But what they are gravitating towards is difference. And we're going to be going through this transition over the next couple of years where the ones that are profitable and are different are actually going to be the ones that win. And, everything else I think is going to fall by the wayside because it's just not, profitability is going to catch up, especially in the Dubai scene, the cafe scene.
You're right.
You're right.
You
get I hate shopping. I do it once every 5 years.
That shocks me, Matt.
especially
Oh, you've got a black belt in online shopping.
online. It's different. But I went to Dubai Mall on Saturday in the morning, which is something like, that's the rule that you don't ever do, right? But we were there at 10:05 in the morning. I walked 2.5 kilometers to go to 4 shops. And of those 4 shops, 3 of them had a barista in them.
Yeah.
These are clothing stores.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that lends itself to this idea that I feel like people build brands here, not businesses. Like you've got people, marketing people and PR people here gear small business owners to believe that they have to build a brand. Focus on your brand, your brand, your brand, your brand, your brand. Don't focus so much on the business side of things, because if you can build the brand, the business will just sort itself out. And folks, I can tell you, after being in this industry for 20 plus years, that is a lie. Like if you don't have your business fundamentals sorted, I don't care. You know who's a great example of that? 23andMe. 23andMe has never turned a profit. They just listed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And they survived because they're being bought out for pennies on the dollar. And that's a business that was told brand, 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 right? And it didn't take care of its business model. And I know it's not in the coffee industry, but I could list you a very long list of coffee businesses who started here. They built for 6 months. They invested a whole bunch of money into marketing. They didn't take care of their people. They didn't take care of their supply chain. They didn't take care of their customers, and they went out of business.
I was going to say
it's just something that you have to focus on.
Yeah, but you have to focus on everything, hey? You have to focus on the brand. You have to focus on the business. You have to focus on the coffee and your suppliers. You have to focus on your team. So you're one person. And I think sometimes we get asked, what's been your most exciting part of this whole journey? And I'd have to say right in the top 3 would be when we've reached a point where we've been able to afford to pay someone to come to the business who's really good at something. Way better than us, and that we just did an amazing 2-day offsite, performance coaching thing last week with our senior team, and it's so exciting because we've got the right people in the right positions now that can take the business. We're growing a lot, and it's that would have to be something because you look at. I was saying earlier on that I know I'm very people orientated. That's a weakness in a lot of cases. I avoid conflict. I don't like firing people. I'm not focusing on, the finances and everything. When you finally get to the point that you've got enough resources financially to be able to employ really good key people into business positions, that's super exciting. Because as a founder, an entrepreneur, a startup, whatever, I didn't even know what entrepreneur was, 18 years ago. I didn't know how to spell it. You're not going to be good.
None of us do, and we still don't.
Yeah.
None of us know how to spell entrepreneur. It's the worst part about being an entrepreneur is I don't know how to spell entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So an entrepreneur is not somebody who's handed a massive amount of cash and then told to go out and spend it.
The marketing budget.
I wish.
Because that's not an entrepreneur. That is somebody who's working for an investor. Right. And, that's not a founder. That's just somebody who's running the numbers in a system.
We've got no risk.
When you have had to build a business where you're looking and going, in order to get that person who's going to be better at that job than I am, I'm going to have to spend this amount of money. And then realize that you are going to have to make a sacrifice in order to spend that money. That's when you actually realize that you're actually running the business. Now, when you can get a cash injection or when you can get something that grows the business in that way, boy, you make sure you're spending it on the right thing. Right. And it's not a new chandelier. It's not a new vehicle for yourself. It's what is going to make this business go faster. And typically it's on providing facilities for your people and buying more stock.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all it comes down to, because if you've got enough going in that direction, you will end up with that cycle working, and people just miss that point so much. It's like, just opened up, woohoo, let's throw a party. Okay, why don't we make the money first before we throw the party? Dubai is not a place to be testing unless you've got a massive amount of cash. And so the people who are testing here are large corporates, and as they should do, right? The malls here are nothing but full of brands.
They're showrooms.
Who are not making any money. They are not making any
They're
money.
showrooms,
I promise
guys.
you that all those brands are not making money being at Dubai Mall.
You know what I'm
it's a
saying?
wonderful place to visit.
Interesting you should say that. You know what I'm seeing lately on my Instagram, sponsored ads, is people who have cafes in Dubai Mall are selling those cafes, and the ads are being targeted to specific people. And I happen to be someone that they're being targeted to. And so cafe in Dubai Mall for sale, contact this number if interested. And, guys, Dubai Mall is one of the busiest tourist attractions in the world, not just here in Dubai, in the world. If you have a cafe in Dubai Mall and you can't make that profitable, I don't know where you're going to be able to make it profitable. So, that's something to think about, right?
Yeah. I know that, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, we were offered a 3 metre by 3 metre square for a pop-up to do an espresso bar, and it was $100,000 a month. Dollars minus, MEP, water.
And then 15% of
Revenue share. Yeah, of course.
So it's big, it was just sort of, I think, when as you go through different evolutions, you're looking at what you might do, have multiple revenue streams, and we were wondering if we should do something like that, because it would be a really good way to have grown brand recognition and everything. But
some of these places are not there for businesses designed to make a profit.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our next episode fantastically. Well done, Matt. Join us for the next episode, folks, where we're going to talk about breaking it down into image versus profitability. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. This episode is part of a 5-part series produced by Mapper Forward. Check the full playlist and guest details in the show notes, as well as how you can support our work in the coffee industry. Become a premium YouTube subscriber, explore our Patreon and any brands we've partnered with to bring you this podcast. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us grow our audience.